Welcome back. I'm Richard Hosnout, and I'm your host of the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast and this YouTube channel. Great to have you back. This is the second in what it will be a long series called the Advanced Wisdom Series. The podcast itself is a fairly intensive advanced wisdom series. Lots of quotes from great teachers with hundreds of episodes there. So if you really want even more than you can get on the YouTube channel right away, you can go listen there. Having said that, I'm going to be bringing more and more of the advanced wisdom teachings to this YouTube channel over time. It'll be one of the longer term commitments and series that we do here. And in this series, I'm sharing with you fundamental, deep insights from some of the most spiritually advanced teachers that are on earth now or have been on earth. And these are all God-realized, enlightened teachers, avatars, however you want to call it. And the teacher for this particular episode, and many more to come, is also an enlightened teacher, self-realized. Paramahansa Yogananda, who's my beloved guru, founder of the Self-Realization Fellowship, passed in 1952. His book, Autobiography of a Yogi, every year is one of the best-selling spiritual books on Amazon. And it's an extraordinary story, and if you want an introduction to him, you can read it. Just as Steve Jobs did. Steve had only one book on his iPad. It was the Autobiography of a Yogi, which he read once a year, every year, at least once a year, every year, from college on. In this particular episode, I'm sharing with you excerpts from Yogananda's great book, The Second Coming of Christ, The Resurrection of Christ Within You, in which he brings great insights and understandings into the teaching of the Christian Bible. I went from really struggling with understanding the Christian Bible before reading this book to now, wow, it's a great source of inspired teaching. So you may want to consider, if you want to take your level of understanding of the teachings in the Bible to an even higher level, or make it just a profound book that can guide you. This is a book that you can get at the Self-Realization Fellowship and on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and Kindle versions. So with that said, in this particular episode, we're going to be talking about Jesus' Immaculate Conception. Okay? One of those, Jesus came onto earth in a very different way than you and I've come onto this earth. What's that all about? So let's see what Yogananda, the enlightenment that he shares around this. Quoting again from Yogananda in the book. The first real Immaculate Conception, in its highest form, was when God materialized Adam and Eve, the first humans on this planet, the symbolic parents of all human beings. God did not create original man and woman by sexual union. Okay? So the Immaculate Conception is how all this started. And you can read further to find out that it was actually God's intention that humans on earth continue this way until Adam and Eve went to the garden and violated one of God's laws that have kind of put us in the situation where we are today. Conversation for another day. Continuing. So it is a fact that Jesus was created by Immaculate Conception. His mother Mary, she who had found favor with God, was filled with the Holy Ghost, cosmic vibration. The Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Okay? So Mary was guided and inspired by God through this process. This sacred creative vibration, suffused with the reflection of God as the Christ consciousness, entered into the ovum in Mary's womb, immaculately creating the germ cell of life into which entered the soul of Jesus, the individualized Christ consciousness. A lot there, okay? Entering into the ovum, into Mary's ovum, a cell of life, and it's when that is created, at the initial conception, is when the soul enters in that very small germ cell of life that exists. That's when the soul enters. And it was done immaculately through the Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Okay? Process with Mary. From this pristine cell, according to the pattern inherent in the soul of Jesus, grew the body in which Jesus the Christ was born. It's not a myth. Gautama Buddha, as also other avatars, was born in the same way. Okay. Adam and Eve and other great God-realized beings who have, I use the term, have graduated from the human kingdom. They have gone through expanding their base level of waking consciousness that I'm talking to you from, and subconscious, and expanded that to super consciousness, then to Christ consciousness, then to cosmic consciousness, at which time we graduate, Richard's word, from the human kingdom and enter another kingdom called the spiritual kingdom. A conversation for another day. And it's this form of Immaculate Conception that apparently happens with great avatars, God-realized beings who return into human form at the behest of God to be one of those teachers. In the previous episode, I talked about God's emissaries coming onto the earth periodically to give us a guiding hand to move along the path of evolution. Okay? Quoting again, there is a cosmic metaphysical symbolism in the wondrous conception and birth of Jesus. His incarnate Christ consciousness, remember I just said, you and I have today a waking consciousness, I'm coming to you from that, and a subconscious. And as we advance along the spiritual journey, through meditation practices, we gain greater and expanded levels of consciousness, with super consciousness being next, then to Christ consciousness, then to cosmic consciousness. So his incarnate Christ consciousness came immaculately through the Virgin Mary. Likewise, the universal Christ intelligence was born or reflected in the cosmic body of pure vibratory creation, a cosmic Virgin Mary, if you will, through the instrumentality of God the Father. Jesus was his given name. Christ was, I've talked about Paramahansa Yogananda, with Paramahansa being a statement of somebody's spiritual level of accomplishment. In the Catholic Church, the somewhat similar thing would be a bishop or a cardinal. And so Jesus the Christ part of that is a recognition of the Christ consciousness that Jesus brought with him. Okay? So, some interesting thoughts on what the Immaculate Conception is and how it happened for Jesus, but also how it has happened for other God-realized beings who come back into human form to be teachers and helpers for those vast majority of us humans who can use a lot of help. Okay? As always, if you want to learn more, you can go to mywisdominspiredlife.com. You can listen to the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast there. Great podcast player there, but you can also listen to it on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and all those other places that you can. As you know, I'm on a journey to try and help bring more caring and compassion into the world, all of which will help us live a more wisdom-inspired life. So thank you for being on the journey with me today, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.